All right, Ruthless fans, hope you're doing well. Go ahead and like the video, hit subscribe, click the bell icon and select all, and follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Now, one of my favorite scenes from the recent episode was, Brian confronting the sheriff in regards to whether or not he's affiliated with the Rakudushi in any way, shape, or form. Now, to be completely honest, I could see both sides of this coin. Part of me is like, well, no, I mean, just looking at season 1, I honestly don't think this man is involved with them in any way. I mean, because if you look at the Oval, when Tally escaped and made it to Nancy and Richard's house, when Nancy was like, I want to call the police. But then she's like, no, please don't. The Rakudushi, they're infiltrated the police. Like some of the people in there are actually members of the, the cult itself. So if you send me over to them, I'm automatically going to be killed. So it's one of those situations where, yeah, it makes sense that even though the Rakudushi are anti-government or anti-establishment, they would have people or plants in those specific places, especially those individuals, whether it be a sheriff's office, police station, FBI, what have you. If they're gunning for the Rakudushi, it's critical to have quote unquote allies in the system to know if you're on the targeting list. So that would make sense if the sheriff was actually involved with the Rakudushi in that respect, because, if we have the sheriff on our side, then we know we're not going to get in trouble for almost anything we do. However, on the flip side, there were just some key things that, looking at how he was acting when him and Brian went to the compound, and the fact that he, what did he say? Oh, I had some of that lemonade and whatnot. Basically, the fact that he unknowingly consumed drug food. I'm like, I don't think the sheriff is involved. I think he's I feel like he was honest when he told Brian that I'm just trying to keep the peace, or that's all I'm trying to do, trying to stop trouble from happening. So I feel like there might be like a mutual understanding between the sheriff and the Rakudushi, but I feel like he's probably just freaked out by them just like everybody else in the town, and he's not sure what would happen if he were to go back up there unannounced, so to speak, because Brian did say, you're the one who called the FBI about the Rakudushi in the first place. So I honestly don't think that the sheriff is dirty, but I do feel like maybe he is a bit bent out of shape. Case in point, Polk messing around with Melinda led to those guys coming in there, compromising his files and whatnot. So he's probably thinking it's like they've already infiltrated the sheriff's office. So the last thing I want to do is try to start trouble with a compound of that many people. I mean, I was a bit confused though, because didn't he plain as they say, Brian, if you go up there again, everybody in that compound is going to die. How would you know that? Because if I'm not mistaken, when Brian said he was going back up there during the mid-season of season 1, Brian went up there alone until Matt called him to turn around, because at that point, it was going to be a major killing. So I think that maybe the sheriff does know them more than what he's letting on. I mean, there have been subtle hints to him being not who he appears to be ever since, he kept watching that tape of Melinda and Polk. And apparently he knows a lot about online dating and everything. So who knows what the hell he's been up to in his free time. And on top of that, I just feel like, aside from him being clean but maintaining the peace, like I said earlier in the video, he could indeed be buddy with the Rakudushi just to, avoid any kind of trouble. It's almost like an ends justify the means thing where, hey, I don't cause trouble with them, they don't cause trouble with me in this town. It's like, you know what? Whatever happens in that compound stays in the compound. As long as there's no trouble with the locals, then we're okay. It's kind of like when he said, I went up there this morning to get the money, and I'm going to go up there to the family to give them the money for the truck repairs this afternoon. That I think he might be lying about, because I mean, the sheriff going to the compound is something that I wouldn't expect them to not show us unless it was too incriminating on his character. It's like, oh yeah, well, maybe he figured out how much money it would cost, so he came up with the funds himself, as opposed to going to the compound himself and causing the trouble. So I don't know, because didn't the family say, Dale's parents, didn't they say they were going to go out there themselves if they didn't pay by the next day or something? So that's a possibility. But I want to be honest here. I don't think the sheriff is involved with the Rakudushi. I don't think so. But I feel like if he is, it's only in the sake of I don't want to cause trouble with them as long as they don't cause trouble with the town. That's pretty much how I think the dynamic is. But yeah, I mean, Brian, most of his hunches have been correct, even though you could argue that maybe his own feelings are corrupting his judgment. But, he's questioned Andrew's loyalty, but we know for a fact he's loyal to the FBI. Then, of course, the whole Malcolm being a powder keg, you could argue, well, yeah, that's only because he found out about Malcolm and Lynn. But then again, it's like, yeah, he is right about Malcolm. But I think the sheriff is clean. But like I said, I do feel like he was lying about going up to the compound himself. I feel like maybe getting drugged kind of spooked him. Seeing the security footage of Raku members in the sheriff's office spooked him. So he probably doesn't want to cause any trouble. It's like 1 minute he's calling the feds to help him out. But now after realizing what the Raku are capable of, he probably doesn't want to start any kind of craziness. But that's just my opinion. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, if you have any other, things to follow up on, like any other video ideas, feel free to hit me up on social media. And if you would like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you soon.